before.
Right.
A good number of them are agreed that let's give Museveni this one term, amalize, aende. So his challenge would be that for the next 5 years, how do you make sure that you create very strong institutions, stronger than him, so that during his retirement, he does not keep on getting worried. You know, majority of the reason why we said presidents in Africa don't go home is they're nervous that what happens when they leave State House.
Hold it right there. And I'd love for Ogik, I want to come to you shortly. That is on the question of the place of the youth moving forward. But Ogik, because then we're running short of time, quickly, picking it up from what Dismas says, the tragedy would be, or perhaps the desire for the people of Uganda right now, and this is in the question of democracy, because give it to him, as earlier mentioned, Museveni has managed to maintain the question of peace as well as political stability, if you'd want to call it that. But still there's the general feel that maybe he should exit the stage so that he leaves the space for somebody else. But what are the chances of rooting out the Museveni factor, the Museveni family, the dynasty aspect to things? I know that he has members of his family that are, credible enough to manage, different institutions and spaces in Uganda. But what is the possibility that it's not going to be, the people of Uganda dealing with another Museveni? Case in point, perhaps the son.
Yeah, my guess is as good as yours. And I think what I can only say is that it's an African challenge. It's not a Ugandan challenge. It's not, because even in Kenya, we just had President Uhuru, who was a son to a former leader, and so many other factors we can talk about. But I think for the case of Uganda, to go away from the Musevenism, like my senior gentleman was talking about, there is need for us to establish the constitutional independence first, separate powers of all these different arms of the governments, and also at least make sure that each of them is there to check and balance each other, not one being superior to the rest. And I think at the end of the day, whether it is Museveni's son who comes to power or another person who comes to power, all we need is to see rule of law. And if they are to come, Museveni's son also has a right to come to power if he wants to, because of course there are procedures for him to do that. He can decide to step down, and he's a Ugandan. He has a constitutional right to contest and become a president of Uganda. So long as he comes through the legitimate way, so long as he follows all the different criteria, or even any other family member, I think there is no problem with that. But for me, I think there is need for us to restore constitutional power in Uganda, the independence of the different institutions, the arms of government, and then Ugandans to go back in charge of their country as Uganda. And I think there is no one else who can fix that better than the Ugandans themselves. So whether this is the last term of President Museveni, or it is just another rhetoric of him, because it's not the first time he has talked about this being the last time he's contesting. But I think whether it is his last time or not, we need to restore the country and give it back to the people, not a family property, not a dynasty. We're not creating an empire. We are a democracy.
All right, thank you. And I'm glad that you talk about the people. The people, the youth, conform the largest bit of the voters in Uganda. We cannot help but think about the situation in the country here, Kenya, after the Gen Z protest, and just how vocal they came out to say that it is their time. What is the place